Hey everyone, how's it going? Thanks so much for tuning in. Earlier this year, I rebought my first car, or one very similar to it. It's a 1995 Saab 900 SE convertible. I've done a bunch of videos with it this year and recently put up my in-depth review on it, so if you'd like to see it more up close and personal, check out the link, it's in the description box below. I've had so much fun with the car this year and it really means a lot to me, so I wanted to make sure it stayed around for the long haul. But the biggest problem, because Saabs aren't made anymore, it's really hard to find parts for this car, especially trim pieces, electronics, components for the convertible top. There's a lot of little components and stuff that's really hard to source, and a lot of it is really expensive. So I talked to my buddy Chrisfix, and he recommended that I look into getting a parts car because he just bought a Jaguar parts car, totally stripped it down to the bare metal, and even made money off the whole project. So I know it's a great idea, especially if you have a place to store a parts car and, a little take things off here and there. So I'd like to present our new parts car. So for the price that I got this car for, it's in really good shape. There's some things like headlights and taillights that I can take off, but generally speaking, my car has a perfect body. There's no issues with that, so I'm not too concerned with the exterior. More important to me was the interior and a lot of the electronics, because as some of you know who have already seen my project videos and basically cloning my first car, some of the expensive bits are the genuine wood dash piece, a lot of the electronics, especially the driver information system, the radio, everything like that. That's very hard to come by and definitely not cheap. Plus, being that this car is actually a 97, the driver's seat has lumbar, so if I ever wanted to reupholster the seats in my 95 model, I can actually take these out, get some lumbar, and some added long-term comfort. Other important bits that I'm focused on are the motors to the convertible top, the wheels, and the entire light bar assembly for the rear. Because of all of the success Chrisfix had with his car, I wanted to play it the safe route and use the same site he did. I went and searched all the different Saabs, and I was fortunate enough to find this one. All in all, with shipping, I got the car for $1,200, which is an amazing deal. It may sound like a lot to some, but when you start adding up all of the parts that this car has, especially some of the parts that I've already bought for that, it pays for itself in spades, and honestly, if I wanted to sell everything else, I'd make a tidy profit from it. So let's make a list. Both of the tonneau motors for the convertible top are worth between $400 to $500, depending on if they're in good shape or not. The rear taillight bar, $100. The wood dash bezel, $100. The wheels, $300. So when you add things like the driver's seat, which you just cannot find, the driver's information system, the radio, other electronics, you can see how quickly all of those parts add together. So it really is super cost effective to do this.
All right, so we're gonna try to start up this Saab just to see if it runs. Just for some fun. You can see we got the PVC pipe holding the hood up there because our struts are totally shot. But we got the battery in, I got the intake apart, and we're gonna be using some starter fluid. So you know what to do? Yeah. You do the honors. Let's see if we can do this.
Fingers crossed.
So what you wanna do is you wanna spray a little bit of starting fluid right into that intake, and then have them crank it over and see if we can get it to start a little bit. Once we start hearing that we can get it started, we're gonna spray some starter fluid in there and see if it could run on the fluid for a couple of seconds, and then cut the fluid and see if we could have the car run on its own. Make sure you don't stand directly in front of the intake as you're spraying, because if there's a backfire, you could get some flame shooting out of there potentially, so it's better to stay off to the side. Okay, let's do it again. Ready?
Oh, it started! It's running! It's running!
It's running!
Yes!
What in the world? Running.
It died!
That was awesome.
Yes!
All right, so we just got this started. That's exciting because this thing hasn't run since 2009. So how does that change things up? What are we gonna be doing now?
Well, it's definitely worth keeping around, but I think the focus for today, I want to take off the most valuable parts. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started.
All right. So the first thing we're gonna do is remove that wooden dash bezel.
All you have to do, remove a bunch of torque bolts. There's a 10mm bolt down there and it just pops out of the dash. So one thing that's nice too, when you start taking out all these switches that have all these plastic connectors, being that the cars are so old, it's good to take these and keep them because they are prone to cracking. So it's at least nice to have a spare. So along with taking out the dash bezel, I can take the radio and driver information system out too, which is important to keep aside because these buttons are prone to crack, they're in good shape, and these displays, the pixels can go out, they're also in good shape, so I can take these and save them for later. So I removed the whole lower dashboard because I wanted to get the climate controls out. The lights on mine don't work on this side anymore, so I can swap this out. It's in perfect shape, just like new.
All right, with all our dash pieces stripped out, what are we doing next?
Let's head to the back and check out the tonneau motors. Mystery hoses. That's important. Found the missing part to the seat up there.
And if you need help fixing your car, this car comes with its very own shop manual.
So aside from it not running when it got here, the car also has a bad transmission. That plus the fact that the entire top assembly is completely disassembled. This car is not necessarily worth fixing, but it still offers a lot of value. Because as you can see right here, someone was in the process of fixing this top. So it came with a perfectly working salvage top motor, which is worth about $200, $250. There's still another one inside. I'm not gonna tackle that one right now. Just wait till, knock on wood, hopefully I don't need it, but if I have it, it's there. Now that everything is cleared out, this one has the trunk light, so I can pop that out. Mine doesn't have it, so that'll be nice for nighttime, but also underneath the trunk floor, all the, tool kit, tire changing equipment, and the spare tire, so that'll definitely come in handy. All right, now I'm gonna remove all of these clips and we're gonna take out the center light bar. While I'm in here, it also makes sense to go ahead and take out portions of the taillight on either side, prevent it from getting sun damage over time. All right, all the 10mm bolts are removed, so we can just start taking these pieces off. So the main reasons I was taking out the taillights back there is because the car is going to be stored outside. I want to protect the plastic lenses in case I ever need them. I'm going to go ahead and take these out, but I might as well take the headlights too. They're glass and in great shape. This is an example of what can happen to these headlights. It's not yellowed or anything like that, but there's some fine etch marks that just comes from sitting in the sun. While mine are fine and that one over there is a little bit better shape than this one, it's definitely a good idea to have a spare one on site. The last thing I'm going to take off up front are the headlight wiper motors. One of mine isn't working, so definitely be nice to get that functionality back. Alright, so that pretty much does it for today.
So let's see all the parts that we got.
Yeah, it's quite a nice spread. I went ahead and took off all the headlight assemblies, the front grille, all the interior switches for the most part. I also got the essentials from the dash, like the wood panel, the radio, climate control, driver information system, a lot of the stuff from the rear, the tonneau motors, spare tire equipment, so it's a pretty good haul today. There's still a lot more we can take off that car, but we'll save it for another day. The whole reason I bought a turbo parts car instead of a V6 is that I thought, if something ever happened to the V6, I can swap the turbo motor in because it seems to be in decent condition and make it truly just like my first car. But in the short term, there's a lot of other things I can take off this car to have on deck. Everything from the radiator to the fuel tank to the suspension components and so much more. I'm going to completely gut this car, use what I need to, and just sell the rest. So we're winding down this incredibly fun day. Huge thanks to Chrisfix for tipping me off to this and assisting me with the disassembly process. Did you at least have fun?
Yeah, that was a blast. I'm glad I was able to make it down and help out and work on my first Saab.
Yes, sir. If you haven't checked out his channel, the link is in the description box below. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned next time. Leave a like and subscribe today. There's always a lot more where that came from. Take care, everyone.